Konnichiwa, Mina. This is Sakura, and you're watching PokeCast. Welcome back to another Game Boy Top 10s. This is Fighting Games, Winners, Part 1. And, of course, there are going to be a couple rules to make this easier. First is, has to be in Fighting Games on Game Facts section. If it's not in the Fighting Games section, it is not going to be on this list. As I've always said, just makes it easier and keeps it limited to what it needs to be. Rule number 2, no Game Boy Color games. The Game Boy Color is the next-gen software system, so I don't include any of their games, just because it adds on more. And then, of course, rule number 3, has to be a good port if it's a port. And of course, Mortal Kombat is not on this list because it's a horrible port. Shaq Fu and Primal Rage wasn't that bad, but they didn't make the list. Alright, moving on to number 10, Hall Wrestling or Pro Wrestling. Now I know automatically there's going to be a few people who said, wrestling's not fighting. Well, technically when you get down to the actual thing, it is. And out of all the wrestling games I tried, this was actually the most decent one that worked. I liked the humor that they threw in with the eyes and everything, because it just made it feel better. And I actually enjoyed it. This is one of those games that I'm actually going to be looking for now, just so I can get better at the game. I probably should have mentioned at the beginning of this, all these games I basically just started playing either for the first time or using my experience from the other versions of the games to see if they were a good port, if I played the other ports to them, so, or other versions. So I don't know how to play this game, and several of the other ones. So, yeah, this is just one that I really enjoyed because of the humor of it. It definitely needs training and getting better at the skill for you can master the game. Because otherwise you end up like me, getting devastated. And then eventually just giving up because it's like, okay, the video's too long. So, out of the wrestling games, this was actually the best one. The other ones, most of the WWF ones were actually pretty bad. I think there's only 2 of them that was actually even worth playing because the other ones were just atrocious. So that is number 10, Hall Wrestling, or also known as Pro Wrestling. Hope you guys like that one. Yeah, I did pretty bad on that game. Moving on to number 9, Best of the Best, or in Japan, the Kickboxing. This game was just a ton of fun. Really impressed with the animation they did here. I mean, it's simple, but they took the time to make sure that, the Betty looked good in the game. And then the graphics in the game itself, very impressive. It's obvious that they actually took pictures of real people and then digitized them into Game Boy form. For the crowd, I really like how the crowd, at the very front, very detailed, and then in the very back, it just looks like it's a huge setup. Health meter, definitely enjoyed that. I thought that was actually pretty cool how they did the health meter. And I just had a lot of fun with this game. You gotta be very careful about it getting too close, because if you're too close, you actually don't hit the person. But other than that, I mean, the game itself, I thought was actually pretty cool. This is one of those games that, yeah, you'd have to, play for a while to get a little bit of skill, but most of the time it's just kicking just right. The controls are actually pretty simple. Well, it's a Game Boy, so yeah, they're pretty simple, but they did it nicely to where it worked. And still, the graphics just impressed me alone. And they even fit in their little logo right there. So, Definitely one that I can highly recommend to pick up just because of it. I think it's a phenomenal job on the Game Boy for the time. Alright, moving on to number 8. This is SD Hiro no Ken Gaiden. This one, I just enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. The only problem I have with this, why is it always the fat guys who are sumos? Well, obviously, sumos are heavier guys, just how the sport is, are able to destroy you relentlessly. It felt like I was going against E Honda on Japanese difficulty, on like expert mode. I think I had to get a different character just to be able to beat him. Because as soon as a sumo gets near you, you're dead. And of course, it doesn't help that I pick a female character who his foot could probably crush her. Well, crush anybody. The game itself, I liked how it was easy to get into. I was able to at least kind of discover some of the moves, which was really nice. The graphics are perfectly attuned to the size of the screen. The Super Game Boy feature definitely is helpful. And also need to mention with this one, just like several of the other fighting games, in a Super Game Boy, you can actually unlock multiplayer. And, being on a Super Game Boy, they definitely could have done better on the color, but that does not bother me one bit. But the evil, creepy bunny rabbit in the background, that does bother me. Why is there 2 bunnies watching, waiting to eat you, It must be a Monty Python one over there. It has really big teeth. But anyways, this is one of those games that really intrigued me. There is another one, but I found this one to be, they're both practically the same. And I enjoyed this one a little bit more. So that is not too bad of one. Number 7, moving on. Master Karate. Karateke. This one is cool. It feels if it's like playing Kung Fu. Or I forget what the other one was called. Gotta be very precise of where you're kicking at, taking out on your enemies. You get to level up, increase your stats. I thought that was pretty cool. Took a little bit to remember, okay, up is to get out of stance, down is to get back into stance. And of course you can get items and stuff. And then this right here is the douche you gotta take out. Lord Vader, or Darth Samurai, with his Storm Samurais. Anyway, the game itself, I have to say, I actually enjoyed this. I was very impressed with it, and would definitely like to pick this one up. Of course, importing always costs a little extra, but be able to import this one and actually take the time to see how far I can get in the game would be really cool. I just hope it's not password. I think it is. And hopefully this time it's not going to be like Yu-Yu Hakusho's side-scrolling games where you actually have to use hiragana as your letters you have to type in. Oh, that was a pain in the rear. But I would definitely jump into this one and see how far I can get in this one, because the typical story, Darth Samurai has stolen your girlfriend or wife, we'll just go with girlfriend, that's usually loved one, and you have to go and save her. So really, really impressed with this game, and that's why it is where it is. Alright, moving on to number 6, King of the Fighters 95. For anybody that's a fighting fan, you knew this one was going to be here. Now it's strange, I've actually tried out several different versions. I think I tried out 96, 97, or 97, 98, I forget which ones, but strangely enough, this is actually the better version. They have more just have more art style to it. When you win, you actually get to see the art style and enjoy seeing how well the team actually put the time into it. And the other one, that didn't have it, so that's why 95 is here, is because 95, it looks like they actually took the time to give us a good version of it. All the move sets are practically identical. Um, you know, translated perfectly over from a 4-button system to a 2-button system. So this is one of those I was very happy because I was able to, well, I just lost, but I was remembering how to play. I haven't played King of the Fighters for a while. But if you're a King of the Fighter fan, at least you're able to actually enjoy it. And of course, if you have a Super Game Boy, you instantly have multiplayer, which I've had a couple of these back when I had my huge collection, and I loved playing particularly these type of version of the game on the Super Game Boy because it was just so much fun. And that is why this one is number 6, is because King of Fighters isn't my all-time favorite fighting game, but still, it's a fantastic one, and I do prefer it on the Neo Geo Pocket, so that's why it's lower on my Game Boy list. And that is all of those ones for part 1. I hope you guys have enjoyed part 1 of this list. That's 10 through 6 right there. If there's any games you think that should have been here, please leave comments below and let me know, because I'd always like to see what you guys have to say. If you've enjoyed the list, definitely let me know. This is T saying ciao and sayonara.